Alrighty, so in this video, we're going to go over the best SBCs of the year for most people, including myself, as well as some other club legends. So most of these players I would have played at least 400 games with, and they were outstanding in some way as well. Otherwise, I wouldn't have played over 400 games with them. Now, some of them, depending on other factors, would have played less than 400 games. But every card that you see here, a few of which I've kept, some of which had to move on from the club along the way. Yeah, all these cards have meaning to this year's RTG. So we're going to start at the top here. So Gold Lewandowski, my understanding is in past years he wouldn't have been nearly as meta as he was this year. But when I was using him, he was not one of the players, I'll say this, he was not one of the players here that did play 400 games, but he was iconic near the beginning of the game, a lot of fun to use. The types of goals he would score were unlike many other cards. And then Dzeko was basically like, if I recall correctly, I think I would have used Dzeko after Lewandowski. Oh, it was lagging a bit there to load. That was weird. But this Dzeko was a lot of fun to use. I think I ran him on a basic. And even someone like Ozio, I recall right now that even him, he used Dzeko on a basic as well, I think. And that was the right play. I thought about that as well. Anyways, into more of the real legends. You know what? We're going to go over here. Gozens. This was an objective, and this was one of the first special cards I think I got. And he was outstanding. He was basically rivaling Theo Hernandez for the left back spot. And in a lot of ways, he actually had a bit more to offer than Theo Hernandez, actually. And I'm referring to Gold Theo at this time, at this stage of the game. I have notes, actually, I'm going to pull up. I know I'm starting on this one off a little bit slow here, but let me pull up a few quick notes. So Gozens, I'm going to go in order of some notes I made. Gozens did play over 400 games for my club. I don't have the stats on me right now because right now this is just a concept, but Benacer played over 700 games for my club. This was an awesome SBC. The Gozens for me was a no-brainer because I knew at different points I would be using some sort of like Serie A hybrid. And then same with Benacer, but Benacer was such a valuable SBC. I think he was something around like 30K at the time. And I'm going to mention these things in more detail in another video, but basically I was very hesitant to pull the trigger on a bunch of SBCs early in the year. And this was the first one, from what I recall. I believe this was the first SBC, at least any meaningful one, even remotely meaningful, that I did because the value was too good. And he turned out to be an awesome card. I played over 700 games with this card. Yeah, different game modes. He was a lot of fun. Club legend for sure, 700 games. I eventually did, join the meta rap party with World Cup hero Alawiren. Look, if you wanted to, if you want to put the best team on the pitch at that stage of the game, he was a part of that. And I got him at kind of in the middle of this quick, brief period of time where people were realizing how broken this card was. So I got him at a good price. I can't remember exactly what it was right now. But if my memory serves me correctly, I think I got this card around something like 500-ish, something like that. 500, 550 if I recall. And then over the course of the rest of the year, this guy was sitting around 650, 700, 750, 800. I don't know if he actually got past 1 million coins at any point, but I feel like for a long time he hovered between 700 to like 800k coins, and I got him at about 550. So not only was I using a very meta player, but I had a good investment in the club as well, which is like the best of both worlds. That's the best situation you could kind of hope for if you want to be, competitive, right? I'm going to go in a different order instead of what you see here in terms of where I put them on the team. So when World Cup swaps came out, I chose, and I was still very happy about this decision, but I chose World Cup icon Cafu, and this is the outstanding in terms of my club. This is my number one club legend. Most games, I think, in the club, maybe the only player in my club to play over 1,000 games. Actually, I'm certain of that. He was the only player in the entire club to play more than 1,000 games. There's one caveat I'll say in a moment, but yeah, I really like to play through my fullbacks, and I realized using him on an engine gave him outstanding, like good dribbling. I felt like that dribbling boost was very important. Great passing to be a playmaker. His defending ability and defending stats were already so good at the time, and the way he played in game, I didn't feel it was necessary to give him something like an anchor, which a lot of people would have given him, or even a shadow. But I did try them at different points, and I have to say I preferred overall engine was better on this card for my purposes. He wasn't like a stay back fullback. I made him get forward a lot of the time. Over 1,000 games, two reds. If I recall correctly, I feel like one or both of them were like kind of maybe a little bit unjustified, but it's all good. I try to take pride in not getting any reds with most of my players. I almost never do, but hey, once in a while it happens. So in that swaps program, right? If anyone recalls this, there were 50 tokens to acquire, plus you could get extra if you were going to pay real currency for it, or FIFA points, I guess, if you had them if you saved them as part of the Ultimate Edition. Most people wouldn't or shouldn't necessarily have waited that long, but anyways, 50 tokens. I chose what was a good combo, which was him and like a massive set of fodder packs. And that decision allowed me to get this card done for free within like a couple of days of it coming out. I was just taking some time in my spare time, rinsing packs, opening massive packs, rinsing them into Jairzinho. And this guy is definitely a club legend. Not as many games as Cafu, but over 650 games, almost a goal contribution per game. 5-star, 4-star. And if I knew how to use a card like this, like I do now, if I knew that then, he would have been even more broken. His stats would have been definitely even better than that for sure. Well over a goal contribution per game for sure. Great card. So because of those World Cup swaps, essentially within a 1 month span, I was able to get Cafu and Jairzinho, which really set my team up. That's where my team really started to get a little bit ahead of the power curve, or at least stay at least at the power curve, if not a little bit better, as well as me getting better at the game. So soon after that, I'll go over here in a moment, but soon after that, EA gave us a rare bit of a gift, and some people didn't love this card and other people did. I loved this card. I thought this card was awesome. Some people felt like this card had fake stats. I don't agree with that. I don't believe that at all. A lot of fun to use. Very, very affordable. It even came with like a 3-game or 5-game loan of I think it was like 3 or something. 3-game loan of Team of the Tournament Messi, which was kind of a cool bonus. If you wanted, you could use that card in like a friendly game mode where you're allowed usually one lone player. You could easily incorporate him in if you wanted to. So it was pretty cool. Affordable, great value, awesome card. So I'll rewind just a touch here. near the beginning of the game, this informed Tomori, once I could afford him, this was not right at the beginning, but in the first kind of third of the game cycle, he was still extremely meta, one of the best center backs in the game, on an anchor on new gen. Quite pretty expensive. I remember being something like, I feel like 200 to 300K or so, something in that range, but well worth it at the time. I don't think I got 400 games with him. Di Maria I did play over 400 games with, and I don't have his stats on me right now. I have them on another, like I snippeted some clips of these players' stats, so I don't have them on me. But this Team of the Year Van Dijk, the night before he started to skyrocket, once the Team of the Year cards were basically going to be out of packs, I realized it dawned on me that the market seemed like it was about to explode because people had been done not quick selling, panic selling. You know, a lot of their teams and cards. And I felt like the market was a little bit depressed at the time. So I got this card for exactly 2.15 mil coins. And that next morning, I bought him before I went to bed. Actually, it dawned on me before bed. I'm like having this epiphany, right? And then the next morning, he was already up like, I don't know, 200, 300K. And he kind of stayed hovering around there. And then he kept going up. So over the course of the next few months, he was hovering closer to 2.75 mil, roughly. And so it was another case kind of like Alawiron, where I had decided to invest in the most meta center back in the game at this time, and his value stayed solid for months, well above what I even paid for this card. So getting this card was a key factor in me improving my win rate, for sure. So around this time as well is where I got Gold Mbappe. Again, the timeline I'm a little bit mixed up about. I'm not going to waste too much time. But I got Gold Mbappe, actually. Sorry, I'll rewind. I got Gold Mbappe. I remember this. I made a note of it. 9 days after Black Friday. So the whole year up until that point, I was kind of working up the coins, the saving coins, etc. 9 days after Black Friday, once the market was a little bit down, I was able to afford Gold Mbappe. And I kept that Gold Mbappe until 3 days after this Player of the Month Mbappe came out. Because in 3 days of me casually recycling packs, I had saved packs for Team of the Year. So once this Player of the Month Mbappe came out, I would open all my packs, see if I could get anything. I didn't get anything meaningful other than I got a honorable mentions Cancelo, who I wasn't the biggest fan of. It was a good card, but for the time, but not really above the meta, not overpowered, that's for sure. But anyways, got him for free, sold that other Mbappe for close to what I bought that card for, which then allowed me later to invest in these other cards, right? Including what culminated in me investing in Van Dijk, Team of the Year. Along with that Mbappe, I was using an informed Donnarumma. That was good. That was the best Donnarumma version at the time. I'll give a couple shout outs. This Fred, right now, for some reason, I'm drawing a bit of a blank on what promo this was. Centurions. That's kind of why I drew a bit of a blank. It wasn't the best promo overall, but this was a gem. This Fred card was an absolute gem in the Foot Centurions promo. I think I ran him on a shadow, and he was phenomenal. Phenomenal left-sided center mid, box to box. Awesome player. Another really underrated card, also 88 rated, was this World Cup hero Dirk Kuyt. And I don't know for sure if I'm pronouncing his last name right, but I would run him, I think, on a shadow as well. And his base shooting stats were so broken. Like, I would score goals with this guy that you pretty much would hardly see from strikers, and I would be running him as like an attacking center mid on the right side of the pitch. That's mainly how I use this card, and it was a lot of fun. I ran them together, so I put them together in this on the bench here to reflect that. They were a great duo in my midfield, and I would have had a CDM in between them, basically, is how I probably was running it, essentially, at the time. I didn't pack this version I packed this version in the end game. I see I only played 4 matches with this card. This was like towards the end where you can get practically every card now, but I packed the 91 version of this in one of the only gamble packs I did all year. I'm not a fan of gamble packs. This coming year, I actually don't expect to do any gamble packs this year. The reason for that is because I'm going to be a little bit more open to doing certain other player SBCs that I know what I'm getting. I'm going to be a little bit more liberal with that this year. But of one of the few gambles I did, it finally paid off. The other gambles I did that I felt obligated to do because I had too many dupes and I didn't have anything else to put them in at the time, I got underwhelming cards. But that 91 Van der Sar was a great player for my club. I'd have to pull up how many games I played with that card, but it was a lot. It was for sure over 400 for sure. And then let's see what else we got here. Oh yeah, Delit. So even though Delit now at this point it's team of the season, and so there's not a ton of the game left, and I played less of the game during the summer, but I still managed over 400 games with this card. This guy was one of the top 3 center backs alongside VVD. Once this card came out, he was like in the vicinity of VVD's ability. Great card. Yeah, not too much else to say. I still kept this card till now. This guy's so good. I use him to link Davies, which I'll just skip over something funny. And we'll just cover Davies real quick. Davies is one of the few cards, because he was so late in the game, I still played quite a few games with this card. That's pretty much how many games I would have played since this level up promo came out. It was a fair number of games, but by now, by this stage of the game, the average game length is really quick in terms of minutes. It's very few minutes because most of the time, to be honest, like most of the time I'm dominating the opponents now, and they'll quit within by well before half or at halftime, oftentimes. And then sometimes they're full games, occasionally go overtime games too, right? Not every game is quick, but those close to 300 games were a lot quicker than what you would normally think. And having these two are a great link. Great link. So I was still running them in the end game. Davies is still my favorite left back in the entire game. Even more so than I ended up doing the Roberto Carlos 90, what was he, 97 rated? And I still like this Davies more overall. Arguably the most overpowered, broken SBC and player in the entire game is this one right here. And I happened to have gotten over 400 games with this card as well. He would have been a club legend anyways, but I'm glad that we got over the 400 game mark with this card. This was one of them that I was even debating. At the time, I didn't know if there was much to this card. I wasn't sure if I was going to do the card, but it was cheap. It was pretty cheap. And in hindsight, I'm glad I didn't make a critical mistake, because this guy made those 400 plus games were way more fun with this card in my team. And I would tell you this, I probably wouldn't have played as many games if I didn't have this card. This guy was broken. He still is. He's still in, if I were to play a game now, which I haven't played much at all lately, the last few weeks, but for example, I'll tell you this is like the last week of the game, right? Like we're in the last days of the game for 23 before 24 web app opens. I might play a couple more games. This guy's in my end game team. It's as simple as that. He's still, in my opinion, he's my favorite center mid in the game. Even though I have now 99 Bellingham. Maybe Bellingham theoretically is a bit better, but this guy's so broken. It was like 100K or 150K. It was great SBC. Last two players I'm going to go over are Silver Stars, my favorite game mode. This guy was a lot of fun to use. I would be on like a FaceTime call with one of my cousins usually, and playing this game mode was like the most fun game mode in the game. This guy, he doesn't seem like much on the surface, but this card was like the one bagging most of the goals for most of the year in Silver Stars. It was just so much fun. I don't really have too much else to say about that. This year, so in Silver Stars, I only started it once. NT State came out. This Winter Wildcards NT State came out, and that's when, because it was required to get a token for the World Cup swaps, everyone started to play that game mode, and then a lot of people, including myself, continued to play that game mode throughout the year from there. But up until the World Cup swaps, I hadn't paid any attention to Silver Stars, didn't get any of the cards. But this year, that'll change. This year, silver cards are going to be a much more important part of my club's plan right near the beginning of the year. We'll talk more about that, how that'll manifest in different videos when it's necessary. But this Marmouche card was a legend. Later, once Team of the Year came out, they came out with this Haji Wright card, and let me just say, what I would do to opponents with this card, if you look at those stats, I know it seems crazy, but if they didn't quit the game, because part of the reward is just for playing a game. So sometimes you'd have a player stay, even though like my team was better, I was way better. There's a bunch of games where it'd be like 8-0, 8-1, 8-2, 10 goals I would score in the game, and most of them would be coming from him. So although a lot of that game mode is like 1-goal games or 2-goal games, because people would generally quit, he would still score most of those goals. So just from that, he's scoring like basically a goal a game. I would win a vast majority of those games. I mean, his stats would balloon if I played an opponent that would stay around. So it was a lot of fun. This card was absolutely broken, and I was able to link him well. Basically, even though he's hard to link, I was able to link him well. So that right there, those are all my club legends. I will say I ended up being able to save up to Team of the Year Mbappe later in the year. So I used three of the main Mbappe cards throughout the year, which did total, between those card generations, let's say, I did total well over 1,000 games with Mbappe, because I got over 600 with this one. I got over 500, just over 500 with the gold. And then I had like maybe, I don't know, 100 or 200 more with the Team of the Year. So does that cover all of the cards? It does. So those are my club legends. Those are a lot of the best SBCs of the year for me and for others. Of course, there's a bunch of SBCs that aren't on this list, but as far as my experience this year, that sums it up. The next video I'm going to record and upload will be a list of players that I wish player SBCs that I wish I did. So yeah, that'll take a little bit more prep. I'll have to go over that, and I'm going to kind of reorganize this here, make a new team out of them, and go over that. So if you've been watching, thanks, appreciate it. I hope you're enjoying kind of listening to these videos, watching this, I guess. I appreciate that, and hope you're doing well. Take care. All right, see you soon.